So, like I was saying, I accidentally pushed a button, but like I was saying, back to hate clubs and stuff. I grew up in this place where that's present all the time, I guess. They weren't that popular for a while once everybody, victims included, were like, we already know it died last week. The leader, it died. But now you're having a parade and a petition to every summer or maybe every month have a hate parade. I mean, I've seen worse. But anyway, I learned this about hate because I'm not naturally born inbred. I'm from a biracial family, but not incest. That's not the same. In fact, sometimes it's life saving for a potential white power or white thinking like person when they're like, so and so, you're down to your last whatever. You're gonna have to go black or give up your rights. And eventually your money comb or whatever they call it. I know this because I have a white parent, one. But so anyway, like I'm sitting here not retarded from incest. My parents aren't brothers and sisters or cousins or anything, cousin lovers. Um, and it's like, if you hated me that much, why are you always wanting, to be near me or to? I mean, I get the identity theft sort of angle to wipe me off the face of the earth, like that's part of your mastermind plan or whatever, you know. Except for like, there's the whole keeping people alive after death thing that occurs here. Like I was saying, the stench, and there's something to be said about cleanliness. I mean, that's not the only reason. The reason I started saying that is because there's a smell of AIDS that is familiar to me. They torture you with smells of your loved ones, good smelling things after they make you smell bad. There are many, many ways they could do that, make a person smell bad, which I may mention later. But it's like, so this AIDS walks in my house. It's on my towels. I already bought only 8 towels, 2 of each color. They thought that was significant of some sort of instruction, which goes along with what I said. There are many types of schizophrenia, but basically, they would say someone who can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not, that might be schizophrenia or it might be delusions, or it might be stalkers, but it's probably your mental health, you know. But where they start acting on it, it's like if I got confused and thought everything on my living room table or coffee table was instructions or a goal, and I try to force physically other people into that, that's a sign of schizophrenia. Another sign is cutting of yourself or others. I've cut things. I cut my towels up when they smelled like animal piss. So dog pee and like murder victims maybe could be a similar smell, except for if it's like a person dying that hasn't been allowed to pee because they've been human trafficked in this weird hate club town that I've been stuck in most of my life. Then it smells, even if you're a man, it smells like muff. It does. There are other things that smell like muff, but it does. Hormones, straight hormones. Oh, I smell like an 85-year-old woman, and I've never been an 85-year-old woman. Just saying. So anyway, the AIDS, this special kind of AIDS, smells like toothpaste. And so it's like, goes into the idea of hider cells. It smells like toothpaste and bar soap old that's homemade and been hugged in somebody's like pocket or armpit like every day on their truck to their hider cell, I guess, in their hate club. Or maybe they're trying to convince me that it's a life skill I need. You know, like saving water and purifying it, maybe, but not everyone's an expert. You'd actually need like at least a bachelor's degree to get that right and not become ill or potentially like vision or hearing impaired or dead. But they're like, get on some AIDS. This is the kind of AIDS that will keep you alive. It won't kill you or whatever, you know. So there's AIDS, there's syphilis. There are many kinds of syphilis, 16 known types of syphilis, and they probably tell you there are 3. Just be real. There's chlamydia. They say it's just an infection. Hell no, it isn't. I learned being a hostage of this hate club city or whatever it is that got worse and worse and worse perpetually the past 12 or 15 years, that chlamydia is the cutting off of crotches. Basically, it's a result of being a tweaker. Maybe just a sad person that met a tweaker and doesn't know or can't tell, like last resort. It's like, yo, so, and it goes along with the fake religions and the incest as well and their crazy ideas. But it's like they're so ashamed and embarrassed to say they might have a problem of their own This is one angle. To say they might, like they call herpes just a rash everyone has. I don't think so. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. And then I got some on my face, and it felt more like a moving man-eating worm. And I'm sitting here for like 2 weeks at my house, like, no. And I made a doctor's appointment, and they finally verified I have herpes now. The doctor was really, really hot, but she too said, I have that too. I don't think I got it from her because she's too good for me. She's also very tall and very good looking, so I don't think that's it. So I got the medication. It kills it. I was thankful for that they would see me. And I get home, and like another week or two passes, and my old ass Munchausen neighbor that claims to be sane, she isn't. She has there's like 10 of her. One has Alzheimer's. One has, I don't know, death row syndrome. One is like one of those Beatles fanatics, the real ones from the books, and she might have Munchausen, but she might not. I don't know. She mentions fame often, and I just have a very difficult time believing in it based on what I've experienced in my own life, and I'll leave it at that. But so the AIDS walks in. Oh, chlamydia. Crotch cuttings off. When you are too ashamed to say, maybe I have herpes and medication, and then you're like, I'm just keep riding this rash story. Yeah. Or you steal a body part. You steal crotches because you're like, it looks good to me. Hasn't been used yet. I'm a little dirty from last week. I need that person's crotch too. Then again, the smell of death and injury inflates. But let me tell you, so if you read about the symptoms of chlamydia, it's like loss of feeling, leakage, foul smell, and all these things. And across the board, everywhere I've been, basically those are the symptoms. There are a few more in larger cities that just want to know because they don't want to be near that, or they don't want to have it or exchange it. Because it is actually a federal offense to give someone a life-threatening illness or disease, including STD. I don't know if it's like death row punishable, but I wish. Some days I do wish that. But so anyway, so if you cut somebody's crotch off, and there are tons of trannies here for that reason too, and they're pro-life and pro-heterosexuality, so they rape all the time. They're trying to rape gays straight, even though they made them trannies and themselves too. It makes sense. 2 and 2 is still 4. Anyway, so when they go to put the parts in, they don't know how to match the nerve endings. They don't actually even try to have a working urethra. I mean, probably 2/3 of the city doesn't anymore. So that's another smell that's horrible. If that happens to you, or they tear your stomach, if you ever end up in the city for some reason, then people will go to your mouth and your brain, and you could die. The AIDS pee from not having peed or been raped so much. But anyway, so that's why they don't put the nerves back together. The parts don't match. They're not the same size. They're not the same color. You're surrounded by liars, and nobody wants to tell the truth. And I'm gonna need another clean one. And they're talking about people or your crotch, and that's chlamydia. So this AIDS comes to my house after the 8 towels I already cut up and threw in the trash, and now it's on my washcloth 2 days in a row. And I'm like, should I just throw that in the laundry pile? I'm like, hell no, it's gonna soak into everything. It is. The smell alone. I mean, it's sort of smart to save water, but not when it gives you AIDS. And it's from everybody's and anybody's body. It's gross. I don't know why you would think you would have to hide that long as a human being, but it's like my dad even smelled like that in the past. And I was like, Mom, can Dad get rid of the smell? And she's like loving, in person. And she's like, that's just the way he smells, And it's like everybody's like, until the smell's gone, I don't want to know you anymore. I mean, I even went to Hawaii and other countries, and they're like, you're only, 73 or 78% of your natural born body is already gone from the city you live in, and it's this. So you're not really welcome here. We were just waiting for you to die. They said this to me. And they said also, the AIDS you have is the second worst we've ever seen, in our whole lives, in our whole country. It's that bad. So now I have that, and I'm dealing with that.